Believe it or not, but I actually feel sorry for the narcissist. And it's taken me a long time to come to this point, but I'll explain why. First of all, the narcissist is not born. People who have narcissistic personality disorder were not born that way. And this is extremely sad and very tragic. And honestly, it breaks my heart. But my heart breaks for me first because I've had to suffer at their hands. But I've healed to the point where I can actually show empathy for them, despite the pain that they've caused. And this is because when you begin to understand and learn about the disorder, you learn that narcissists who have NPD, not all narcissists have NPD, but those that suffer from the disorder, they actually have severe issues that came up in their childhood. So it started in their childhood. 3 ways, roughly. Firstly, childhood abuse. So either, and I have met many men and spoken to many men who have been abused by their fathers or mothers terribly in their childhood. We're talking about beating them to a pulp, punching, hitting, using a belt with a buckle, leaving marks on them, scars on them that they wear till this day. That kind of abuse, physical abuse, pales in comparison to the emotional abuse of a child being shut down, rejected, doors slammed in their face. Some fathers even kick their sons when their sons run after them because they want to go out with daddy. But daddy wants to go and find the street hood rats so that he can, get an endless supply behind his mother's back. Some dads, actually kicked their sons in the face, booted them brutally, just to get away from them so that they could go and basically whore. It's heartbreaking that they've had to suffer this kind of abuse. It's terrible on so many levels, and often those parents get discarded later on in life. It takes a whole life cycle before they get discarded in the same brutal way. This is one of the results of narcissistic, or one of the causes of the NPD disorder. The second way that a person contracts or develops the disorder is by early childhood emotional neglect, or just physical neglect included. So they were left for hours on end without any help or assistance developing, without any guidance, without any love. No one gave them a hug, no one picked them up, no one catered to their needs as you should do for a child at that age. No one saw to their needs, no one mothered them, and this is why they go their whole life seeking mother in every woman that they meet. And when they realize that she's not mother and they cannot detach from her in a healthy way to grow up and become an adult, which is to individuate, they end up discarding mother for not being their mother. But the problem is that this will happen for the rest of their lives if they continue the cycle, because no one can take the role of their mother. No one can fill those shoes. It's tragic. The third way that children have contracted or developed, the NPD is through excessive amounts of praise and spoiling in early childhood. So it's the complete converse, the complete flip from what I've mentioned previously, where we talked about abuse and neglect. Now it has to do with absolute praise, adulation, glorification of this child, to the point where this child becomes a nightmare of a spoiled brat and continues this delusion throughout their lives, expecting everyone to cater to them and bow down to their whims and desires as their parents have. So parents who excessively spoil their kids, be warned, you could be raising a narcissist. It's actually not funny, but I see this happening so often, and people think it's absolutely harmless. Now, of course, occasional spoiling is fine, but not constant, to the point where that child lacks empathy for their parents, does not care about anyone else but themselves. This level of selfishness can go into very dangerous territory where that child can actually develop the narcissistic personality disorder. So in a nutshell, this is how narcissists were created. The ones with the disorder, they were severely abused, traumatized, or neglected in their childhood, or given complete royal treatment that allowed them to develop into someone who is with, this personality disorder. It's very sad. And my only message is that if you're a woman watching this or a man watching this and you're seeking out a partner, please make sure that your partner does not have a history of child abuse. Usually they will be open about it because they love talking about their victimhood. So please let your ears be very, very on high alert for any kind of victimhood in their childhood. I'm not saying brand everyone a narcissist who's gone through any suffering in their child. Of course, we've all been through some childhood trauma or another at the hands of someone. Could be a teacher at school, could be bullies, could be anyone. But if they center their entire stories around the excessive amount of childhood trauma and how bitter it has made them and how much they hate the world and hate their parents and hate everyone, and they're constantly walking around like a bunch of sour grapes, just constantly angry and disappointed with life, blaming the world for everything in their life, including all of their failures after they've become adults and reached adulthood, then you know that this is a long-reaching or a far-reaching problem that goes back into their childhood where it actually formed a personality disorder. So please be careful. Do your thorough vetting and checking when you are choosing to work with someone, even as a business partner, because very easily they will bail on you and leave you with a whole host of problems. So pay attention to how people talk about their childhood. Okay, thank you. And if you'd like to learn more about narcissistic abuse recovery, please click on the link in the description below. So it's over and out from me. Assalamu alaikum and goodbye.